Hi, Kinder friends. Today for science, we are going to learn a little bit about a scientist who loved to study snow. And so I have a book for you called Snowflake Bentley that I'm going to read. It is kind of a longer story, so feel free to just stop it, take a break, and come back and listen to it if it gets to be a little bit too long. But he was an interesting person, so it'll be fun to learn a little bit more about Snowflake Bentley. In your learning packet for this week, there is a page called Types of Snowflakes. And it just shows you some different ways that snowflakes are designed. And so this is just for fun if you want to keep it at your house, and next time it starts snowing, you could take it out and try to see what kind of snowflakes are falling from the sky. If you have your mittens or gloves, you can catch some, or on the sleeve of your jacket, and then you could kind of look on this paper and see what kind of snowflake it is. And then on the back is the life cycle of snow. So this is how snow is made. Water vapor is evaporated up into the sky. When it's really sunny out, water vapor goes in the sky and it freezes up in the clouds. Crystals start to form, and then as they fall down, those crystals gather together and become snowflakes, and then they fall down. So both of these pages are just kind of extra. If you want to color them, that would be fun to do. There's the life cycle of snow and the types of snowflakes. So here we go with the story of Snowflake Bentley. This is written by Jacqueline Briggs Martin. In the days when farmers worked with ox and sled and cut the dark with lantern light, there lived a boy who loved snow more than anything else in the world. So this was a long time ago when Snowflake Bentley lived. And you'll see a lot of that in the book. We'll give you some clues. Willie Bentley's happiest days were snowstorm days. He watched snowflakes fall on his mittens on the dried grass of Vermont farm fields, on the dark metal handle of the barn door. He said snow was as beautiful as butterflies or apple blossoms. He was born on February 9th, 1865. So that was 150-ish years ago. So he lived a while ago. He could net butterflies and show them to his older brother Charlie. He could pick apple blossoms and take them to his mother. But he could not share snowflakes because he could not save them. Think in your head why he couldn't save snowflakes. I bet you know. When his mother gave him an old microscope, a microscope is a tool that you can use to look very closely at something. He used it to look at flowers, raindrops, and blades of grass. Best of all, he used it to look at snow. While other children built forts and pelted snowballs at roosting crows, Willie was catching single snowflakes. Day after stormy day, he studied the ice crystals. Their intricate patterns were even more beautiful than he had imagined. He expected to find whole flakes that were the same, that were copies of each other, but he never did. Willie decided he must find a way to save snowflakes so others could see their wonderful designs. For 3 winters, he tried drawing snow crystals. They always melted before he could finish. So it's a very challenging situation to try to draw something that melts right away. When he was 16, Willie read of a camera with its own microscope. If I had that camera, I could photograph snowflakes, he told his mother. Willie's mother knew he would not be happy until he could share what he had seen. Fussing with snow is just foolishness, his father said. Still, he loved his son. So when Willie was 17, his parents spent their savings and bought the camera. When Willie was alive 150 years ago, cameras were so expensive they cost more than a house because they were just new technology. Maybe not as much as a house, but pretty close. They were really expensive things. Now there's cameras everywhere on phones and everything, but a long time ago that wasn't a thing. Look at this. Here is the camera right here, this whole thing. Now we can carry cameras in our pocket, but back then cameras were much more complicated because they were a newer technology. It was taller than a newborn calf and cost as much as his father's herd of 10 cows. Willie was sure it was the best of all cameras. Even so, his first pictures were failures, no better than shadows. Yet he would not quit. Mistake by mistake, snowflake by snowflake, Willie worked through every storm. Winter ended, the snow melted, and he had no good pictures. He waited for another season of snow. One day, in the second winter, he tried a new experiment, and it worked. Willie had figured out how to photograph snowflakes. Now everyone can see the great beauty in a tiny crystal. So one thing that Willie did is he did not give up. Even though it didn't work the first year, even like the first time when he was just drawing the snowflakes for 3 years, he never gave up. So that's a really important character trait to have. But in those days, no one cared. Neighbors laughed at the idea of photographing snow. Snow in Vermont is as common as dirt, they said. We don't need pictures. Willie said the photographs would be his gift to the world. While other farmers sat by the fire or rode to town with horse and sleigh, Willie studied snowstorms. He stood at the shed door and held out a black tray to catch the snowflakes. When he found only jumbled broken crystals, he brushed the tray clean with a turkey feather and held it out again. He waited hours for just the right crystal and didn't notice the cold. If the shed was warm, the snow would melt. If he breathed on the black tray, the snow would melt. If he twitched a muscle as he held the snow crystal on the long wooden pick, the snowflake would break. He had to work fast or the snowflake would evaporate before he could slide it into place and take its picture. Some winters he was only able to take a few dozen good pictures. That's maybe like 30 pictures. Some winters he made hundreds. Very delicate work. Willie so loved the beauty of nature, he took pictures in all seasons. In the summer, his nieces and nephews rubbed coat hangers with sticky pitch from spruce trees. Then Willie could use them to pick up spider webs jeweled with water drops and take their pictures. On fall nights, he would gently tie a grasshopper to a flower so he could find it in the morning and photograph the dew-covered insect. But his snow crystal pictures were always his favorites. He gave copies away or sold them for a few cents. He made special pictures as gifts for birthdays. He held evening slideshows on the lawns of his friends. Children and adults sat on the grass and watched while Willie projected his slides onto a sheet hung over a clothesline. He wrote about snow and published his pictures in magazines. He gave speeches about snow to faraway scholars and neighborhood skywatchers. "You are doing great work," said a professor from Wisconsin. The little farmer came to be known as the world's expert on snow, the Snowflake Man. But he never grew rich. He spent every penny on his pictures. Willie said there were treasures in snow. "I can't afford to miss a single snowstorm," he told a friend. "I never know when I will find some wonderful prize." Other scientists raised money so Willie could gather his best photographs in a book. When he was 66 years old, Willie's book, His Gift to the World, was published. Still, he was not ready to quit. Less than a month after turning the first page on his book, Willie walked 6 miles home in a blizzard to make more pictures. He became ill with pneumonia after that walk and died 2 weeks later. It's kind of sad, but it does happen sometimes. A monument was built for Willie in the center of town. The girls and boys who had been his neighbors grew up and told their sons and daughters the story of the man who loved snow. 40 years after Wilson Bentley's death, children in his village worked to set up a museum in honor of the farmer scientist. And his book has taken the delicate snow crystals that once blew across Vermont, past mountains, over the earth. Neighbors and strangers have come to know of icy wonders that land on their own mittens, thanks to Snowflake Bentley. The end. And here is a real picture of Snowflake Bentley, or Wilson Bentley, and there's that real camera that he used to take the pictures. And then here are some of his pictures of the snow crystals. Isn't that beautiful? See if I can get it closer here. So beautiful. Look at them up close, how intricate they are. I love that. So there is a very important scientist that's fun to learn about, how he studied snow and learned all about it. And because of his work, we all know more about snow too. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed hearing the story of the scientist Snowflake Bentley. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.